Dave Campbell's Texas Football is the official rankings provider of the Associated Press. We put out the Texas high school ball rankings of record. We've published the state's most respected Texas high school ball rankings for decades, and we've been the official rankings provider of the Associated Press since last season. We reveal our rankings every Monday. Friday, that'll be weird. Every Monday here on Texas Football Today, around this time, about 12:30. Mm-hmm. And finally, we can have all the classifications join it. Because for 6A and 5A for the past couple of weeks, we've been like, same. Mm-hmm. Instead, we've got stuff to talk about. We will start with Class 6A. Class 6A, no change at the top. Galena Park North Shore, undisputed, the number one team. Katy, in fact, the entirety of the top 7 are the same. North Shore, Duncanville, Katy, Westlake, big winners over Schertz Clemens, by the way. Denton, Geyer, and Allen, plus Southlake Carroll, who was idle. Alvin Shadow Creek lost to Galena Park North Shore. They dropped from number 8 to number 13 with that loss. Cibolo Steel lost to Chester Life School out of Virginia. They dropped from 18 down to 24. Not a whole lot of changes other than that here in the first rankings of the year. Let's go to 5A. 5A, bunch of changes. Up to number 2, Denton Ryan stays the same at number 1. That's pretty undisputed at this point with their big win over Arlington Martin. Up to number 2 is Idle Highland Park. Up to number 3 is Idle Lancaster. And up from 7 to number 4 is Richmond Foster, who hung 79 on Lamar Consolidated. Big, impressive win for them. Cedar Park up 2 spots to number 6 after their win over Austin Vandegrift. Frisco Lone Star slips from number 2 to number 7 with their loss to North Forney. Longview slips from number 3 to number 8 with their loss to Temple. Amarillo Tascosa up a spot. And joining the rankings at number 10, the College Station Cougars. Cougars, who beat Hutto 55-14. I haven't thought about 5A in years.
Yeah, no.
That's the problem.
I don't know.
To 5A Division 2 we go. Ennis remains the same. In fact, the entire top 8 are all the same. Ennis, Alita, Lubbock, Cooper, Fort Bend, Marshall, A&M Consolidated, Wichita Falls, Ryder, Mansfield, Timberview, and Frisco. All except Fort Bend Marshall were winners. Fort Bend Marshall was idle. New to the rankings, though. Number 9, Bernie Champion. 35-0 winners over San Antonio Veterans Memorial. And number 10, Marshall, who beats New Caney 34-26. They're number 10. To 4A we go. Top 3 were Idle, Argyle, Lampasas, and Waco La Vega all took the week off. Everything is pretty much the same there. Number 3, who was number 3 in the rankings? I forgot.
Yikes.
I think that's wrong. Anyway, Waco La Vega up a spot after being idle. But Port Lavac, Calhoun, Corpus Christi, Cal Allen, Canyon, big winners over Midland Greenwood. They're up to number 6. Melissa won via forfeit over Paris. So that will go in as a win, I should say. That goes to be very clear. If teams are forfeiting because of COVID protocols, that goes in as a win for the other team. It is theoretically a 2-0 win in the books, but it will count in the in tiebreakers as a max point differential loss. So Paris takes a max point differential loss to Melissa. I believe it's 17, but Melissa moves to 5-0 with a forfeit win rather. Springtown up to number 9 with a win over Midlothian Heritage in overtime. And new to the rankings, number 9 El Campo. They beat a good Houston St. Thomas squad 48-37. And number 10, Fredericksburg, the Battlin' Billies, comeback win over Bernie. That earns them a spot in the rankings. 4A Division 2 we go, where it is pretty much unchanged with the exception of Gilmer. Gilmer drops from with their loss to Carthage, rather. They drop from number 4 to number 7. Okay, Paris is not a max point district. Thanks, dude. Thanks, Step. He's just dropping in my DMs now. 2-point win for forfeit. Thank you. Jasper up a spot with their win over Vider. China Spring beats Mahia. They are up a spot. Center remains the same at number 10. To 3A we go, where a little bit of changes here. Wall, their loss to 41-6 to Midland Christian drops them from number 3 to number 9. Pottsboro up a spot to number 4. Malakoff, Hallettsville, Shallowater, and Yoakum were all idle, but they all nudge up a spot, as does Mount Vernon, their 53-35 win over Emory Rains. Winsboro is out of the top 10 after their loss to Mineola, but new to the top 10, the Llano Yellow Jackets, a 34-0 winner over Ballinger. They go from unranked to number 10 in 3A Division 1. Over to 3A Division 2 we go, where it's a little bit of shuffling, but the top 10 remain the same. Canadian and Gunner are still the same at number 2. Lexington's 49-14 loss to Franklin drops them to number 3. Dangerfield up a spot to number 4. East Bernard up a spot. Poth up a spot. Spearman up a spot with their overtime win over Childress. Franklin jumps from number 10 to number 7, leapfrogging Lexington, whom they beat. Idle at number 9, and Childress drops from number 8 to number 10 with their overtime loss to Spearman. So same 10 teams, just reshuffled a little bit. To 2A we go. 2A is a lot more boring. We lost number 8, but Shiner, Refugio, Post, Lindsay, Joaquin, all winners. San Saba and Crawford were idle. Timpson and Panhandle each up a spot with their wins over Sims, Bowie, and Stratford, respectively. And new back into the rankings, San Augustine. Their 48-20 win is enough to get them the number 2. Over Alto, I should say, is enough to get them a number 10 spot. 2A Division 2 we go. Martin Hamlin are idle at the top. Jacksboro, or Wellington beat Jacksboro. They're number 3. Wheeler leapfrogs idle Albany from number 9 to number 7 with their win over Sunray. Albany is the same at number 8. And new to the rankings, number 9 Christoval, who beat Goldthwaite, and number 10 Falls City, who beat Pettis. They are back into the rankings. To 1A we go. The six-man ranks courtesy of our friend and our six-man insider, Granger Huntress at sixmanfootball.com. Not a ton of changes here. A little bit of shuffling at the bottom, but the top 6 unchanged. Westbrook, Sterling City, Borden County, Rankin, Union Hill, and May. Lakey up a spot with their win over Fredericksburg. Jonesboro down a spot with their win to make room for Lakey with their win over Milford. Knox City idle at number 9. And new back into the rankings, number 10 Happy. Even with their loss to Sterling City, it was close enough that it impressed the rankings makers. Speaking of which, let's move over to 1A Division 2, where Richland Springs has flip-flopped once again with Miley County. They are back up to number 2 in the rankings there. Calvert, with their close loss to Rankin, they are up a spot to number 5. Jayton drops a spot to number 4. Klondike, Groom, and Strong, 6, 7, and 8. New to the rankings, Follett, they're 5-0. They are at the rankings at number 9, and Whit Harrell back into the rankings at number 10 with a win over Hart. To the private school ranks, where we finally had a little bit to talk about. Dallas Parish Episcopal was a winner in their number 1 team in 5A or in private school 11-man ranks. They beat Bishop Lynch 43-7. Fort Worth Nolan's game got canceled with Duncanville. Trinity Christian Cedar Hill was idle. San Antonio Cornerstone was idle. Plano John Paul II lost to Lucas Lovejoy. They dropped from number 2 to number 4. And the 6-man ranks. We have a new number 1, Austin Veritas, up to number 1 with their win over Texas School for the Deaf. Fredericksburg Heritage's loss to Lakey drops them from number 1 to number 2. New Braunfels Christian drops from number 2 to number 3 with their loss to Belfarity Bracken Christian. Dallas Lake Hill stays the same at number 4. I believe they were idle. And Bastrop Tribe Consolidated stays the same at number 5 with their win over Williamson County Homeschools. There it is. Your Week 6 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press rankings. You can find them at texasfootball.com/rankings and on texasfootball.com.